Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So behind every great child is an even greater
Mommy?
I know mommy?
Sorry, mommy?
Love you, Mom. Mwah. So that got me thinking, behind every great lead in a Disney Channel sitcom is an even more iconic mother. But then that got me thinking, who is the most iconic mother on Disney Channel?
Some of y'all about to be real mad at me, but it must be said.
Before I get into it, let me just preface this by saying that I am not going to be talking at all about anything to do with the mother's actual parenting. That's not my place to judge. Some of the mums I'm going to be talking about are a little strict. Some are a lot more laid back. Some are a little hands-on. Some are a little hands-off. It's not my place to say what's right and what's wrong. So I'm only going to be talking about their iconicness, their personalities, their storylines. Also, before I get started, I'm not going to be talking about every single mother on Disney Channel. I'm only going to be talking about prominent mothers. And I thought, how do I determine whether they're prominent or not? And I thought, if they're in the theme song, if they're in the main cast, any less is not included. So, for example, I'm not going to be including Allie's dad on Austin and Allie. They're just not big enough to be talked about. Also, some of you may be thinking that I'm a traitor to my country for spelling mum with an O in the YouTube title, but the mothers that I'm going to be speaking about in this video are from American television shows, so it's kind of weird to call them a mum when they're not a mum, they're a mom, right? So putting that to rest right off the bat. So starting off this list is Eileen Stevens from Even Stevens. And I am sorry to this woman, I don't remember you at all. And that is completely on the basis that I have not seen the show since it aired on the Disney Channel. I have not done a rewatch, and that's on me, bad me. However, from research, Eileen Stevens was a state senator for California. So she was a professional. Not her clocking into work to help govern the country and then going home and having to deal with some rambunctious kids. So I respect her for that. However, unfortunately, I can't say more, and because this video is determining who is the most iconic mother, I'm sorry, you're not iconic, because if you were iconic, you'd be in my mind a little more. So, moving on. Before the Even Stevens stands, click off this video. Steve Stevens needs to be talked about too, and the most iconic dad of Disney Channel, so yeah. Moving on to Jo McGuire, that I think everybody can just remember in their head. She wore glasses. She's so memorable like that. Jo McGuire was Lizzie McGuire's mom on Lizzie McGuire, and she was known as being quite a high-strung parent. She was very like, no, Lizzie, don't do that. No, Lizzie, no, you can't do that. You're a teenager, and I'm struggling with that concept. She was that girl. Out of most of the mums I'm going to be talking about, she was one of the strictest mums. I think it would also be fair to say that she is one of the most realistic mums that I'm going to be talking about on this list. I remember, I think it was even the first episode, Jo McGuire having a big problem when Lizzie's younger brother was like, Mom,
Lizzie's talking about dressing like Britney Spears!
And that set her off. She went running up the stairs.
Honey?
And went, You want to be Britney Spears? Okay, I might as well drop you off at the corner and let you loose. I don't think Jo McGuire is the most iconic mum on Disney Channel, but she has a heart of gold. Yeah, moving on. Let's talk about Trudy Proud. I love the Proud family so much, and Trudy Proud is the glue that keeps the family together. Trudy seemed like a really cool mom. She obviously has a level of sternness that every other mom has on the Disney Channel, but it also seemed like she had more personality than some of the other mothers that I'm going to be talking about. She was obviously a voice of reason for every other character on the show, including her narcissistic husband, Oscar Proud. Mad respect to Trudy for staying with Oscar Proud. I don't know how she did that. I would leave after a day. He is so difficult, but Trudy keeps it together.
So you had security come take me out the arena, huh? Oh, you mad now, mama's boy.
She's a professional in the workplace and at home. I think she's a vet. Not only is she a professional woman, but she's a professional wife and mother. Just from her personality alone on the Proud family, she is an iconic mother of Disney Channel. But will she take the title of most iconic?
This is a potential mother.
Let's move on to Barbara Diffy, who was the matriarch of the Diffy family on Phil of the Future. I don't remember much about the show besides the plot. Basically, their family was time traveling because in the future, time travel is like traveling to a different country, and they got trapped in 2004 and they have to live now in 2004. That's the plot. So Barbara is a hands-off mom. She kind of lets her kids run loose and do whatever they want, and I'm putting that down to she's from the future, and she knows what's up, and she knows what's going to happen in the future, so she doesn't need to worry about her kids being out at night in the dark because she knows what's already going to happen in the future. So one of the main things that she would be known for on the show is that when she would cook things, she would do it wrong, because in the future, when you cook, you just open up a spray can and spray your plate and the food magically appears, because future. Because they don't have that technology, when she's traditionally cooking, she does something wrong and the food ends up wrong, and it's a running gag. My number one question with her is, why weren't you helping fix the time machine? Why can't you help? The whole family's mission was, let's try to get back home. For them, it was like being stuck in the Stone Age. So why were they not all contributing to fix the machine? Why are we acting like the dad is the only one capable of fixing the Fleet Flyer 6000 when it took him 2 seasons? So I feel like Barbara could have stepped up to the plate on that. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think she is the most iconic mother of Disney Channel, so moving on to an instant contender for most iconic mum on Disney Channel, Tanya Baxter. So Tanya was the mother of Raven and Corey on That's So Raven. Out of all of the mums that I'm talking about, she was the most likely to be like, oh, you're scamming someone today, Raven? Pass the costume. She was a great character. She was funny, but she was also very endearing and caring for her children. She was an awesome mom, very iconic. She ended up being Raven's English teacher, which Raven did not like, but Tanya was a slay. Also, I have respect for Tanya being passionate about academics. So her backstory was that she was studying for law school, and then she basically took a break from it to raise her children and wanted to wait to continue her academics when her children got a bit older. And I completely support that for Miss Tanya. The one thing I'm a little confused about is, why did you go to England? Like, that was a little bit extra. I mean, maybe she got admitted into like Oxford law. That's another thing too, is that you're an American. Why are you studying law in a different jurisdiction? Like, oh, I just found a plot hole. Why are you studying law in England when you're an American? Obviously, you can become a lawyer in America from a degree in England, but like, you're just making it more challenging for yourself. Like, I just completed law school in New Zealand, and I can tell you that I won't be able to be a lawyer in America. The jurisdictions are so different. And I feel like that would be the same with England and America. Like, they are not comparable. I also Googled law schools in San Francisco, and there were like 3 big law schools, and on top of that, Stanford is a 38-minute drive away from the epicenter of San Francisco. So Miss Tanya wanted to kind of get away from Raven and her hijinks for a bit. She was like, I'm going to go take a quick tea break in London and become a British lawyer, and then it's going to be incredibly challenging for me to become a lawyer when I migrate back to San Francisco. That was a little bit boo-boo. It's a little bit like if you engage in clownery, the clown bites back. But regardless of that, Tanya is definitely a contender for most iconic mother of Disney Channel.
This is a potential mother.
Moving on to someone that I unfortunately forgot about until I was researching and went, I can't believe I forgot about her. Carey Martin. Carey Martin is the mother of Zach and Cody Martin on The Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, and she deserves our respect. Carey Martin was a solo mom, which is, I think, probably the hardest job in the world, and she had to take care of 2 of the most mischievous children in the world, which were constantly threatening her job security and place of residence. Like, let's just put that into consideration. Those kids were getting into so much trouble at that hotel, to the point where what happens to Mr. Mosby was one day just like, I'm sorry, I can't take it anymore. You're fired. Get out of here. I can't take your kids anymore. She would have lost her job, lost her place of residence. They would have been on the street. That would have been a lot of stress for Carey. Besides that, she also had a really cool job. She was a lounge singer for the Tipton. One of the main things I remember about Carey is that she would keep on reminiscing about her past and her past relationships, and her kids were always like, again. And I kind of like look back and go, you're like so mean to your mom. She is a solo parent trying to make ends meet and trying to stop you guys from making her lose her job. All she wants to do is reminisce about good times from her past and share it with her children. And they're like, no, I want to go cause some mess. That's what they were. Another thing that was constantly kind of referenced in the show is that she was like a Mr. Krabs with money. She was a cheapo depot. But once again, she needs to be saving that money close to her chest, because what happens if tomorrow Zach lets off a bomb in the lobby and then she is on the street? I'm like a Carey Martin defender. I stand strong with Miss Carey. And on top of that, she is a cool mum because she let her kids go to school at sea on the Tipton cruise ship, and she was like, get out!
I don't care!
Get out of my life. Go on a ship. I love Miss Carey Martin, so she is definitely a contender for most iconic mother of Disney Channel.
This is a potential mother.
Moving on to the Wallace Simpson of the Wizard World, Theresa Russo. So I'm going to explain that joke because I said that to my boyfriend and he went, I don't get it. So for those that do not know, Wallace Simpson was an American divorcee that fell in love with King Edward, the King of England. And basically back in those days, it was like, oh no, you cannot marry a divorcee. And basically King Edward was like, no, I love this woman so much that I'm going to abdicate the throne for her and I stand with them. Do what you want to do. And basically Theresa is the same. Jerry Russo was the family wizard. He won the family wizard competition and had complete wizard magic capabilities and fell in love with Theresa, a mortal, and basically had to abdicate his magical powers in order to be with her. One other plot hole is that, like, if you lose the family wizard competition, you would lose your powers, right? Which means that you're basically like a mortal, right? Because you don't have powers. And then you marry a mortal who also doesn't have powers, but then when you have children, your children have powers. Plot hole, that don't really make sense. So Theresa was a busy woman. Not only did she have to control the household with 3 rambunctious children, she also had to run the family sub shop. So mad respect for that. And even though they didn't really show her on the show, I'm sure behind the scenes of the show, if we really got a peek into their lives 24/7, I'm sure her children and Jerry were constantly condescending her, being like, you don't get it, you're not a wizard. I feel bad for her, even though that's not even a reality, but I just know that would have happened. Also, Theresa wanted to be a cool mom, but Alex was not letting her win that challenge. Every single time she was like, I'm young, I'm hot, I'm single. Alex was like, no mom, you're lame, you're old, disgusting, frail, and literally should go jump off a cliff. I love that episode when Theresa was talking to Alex about being the most popular girl in school back when she was a girl. She was like, all the boys at school loved me, I was like the most popular girl in school. And then at the end of the episode, the gag was Jerry was like, yeah, she was the most popular girl in school because she was the first girl admitted to an all boys only school. Oh, that was actually a funny joke because that has stuck with me to this day, and I have not rewatched the show since it aired on the channel.
This is a potential mother.
I also want to talk about maybe her like long lost twin sister, Connie Torres from the Camp Rock movies. Connie Torres was in the trenches in the first Camp Rock movie. She had to put up with Mitchie, who was literally the most awful daughter that you could ask for. Imagine gifting your daughter her only wish, which was to go and spend the summer at Camp Rock. And the only way that you can afford to give her that dream is to pick up a job as the cook for the camp, cooking for hundreds of children, multiple meals a day. And then how does Mitchie repay her? Mitchie has the audacity to act like she does not know who her mum is. I can't remember who, but she was like, you know her? And she's like, no, I don't know who that disgusting ugly pig is. Mitchie was the villain of that movie. Like, we may be thinking that Megan Martin, is that her name? We think she's the villain? No, she was just trying to make her dreams happen. Mitchie was the villain. She was ungrateful. And that's the worst thing that you can be, an ungrateful child.
You don't support other women.
But she did have the pipes, so forgiven. Moving on to Linda Flynn Fletcher, who was the mother of Phineas and Ferb and Candace on Phineas and Ferb. I don't like her. She just gives me bad vibes. She also gives me vibes that she does not like her daughter at all. I don't know if Linda had a full-time job. From researching, it was kind of unclear. I don't think she did have a full-time job, but every morning she would wake up and go, Candace, look after Phineas and Ferb for me. I'm going out. And then how does she repay Candace when Candace calls her up going, Mom, I'm trying to bust my brothers. Like, they're up to no good. Come home right now. And she goes, first of all, I'm not rushing. Second of all, I'm not believing you, ever. Imagine every day your mum not believing in you. That is the biggest X. She's not the most iconic mum of Disney because I don't like her. No. Moving to someone that I'm a little scared to talk about. Amy Duncan. Why am I scared? Well, the actress who plays Amy Duncan is controversial. So she has said some things in the real world, things that I don't agree with.
There are these books that I have, and I have them as a gift for you. The Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, and also the Bible. And these guarantee my freedom and yours and our children's to breathe oxygen.
But I just want to talk about Amy Duncan, the character completely separated from the actress outside of the show. So Amy Duncan was the mother of PJ, Teddy, Gabe, Charlie, and Toby on Good Luck Charlie. And when you really look at it, Amy Duncan was a slay. In my opinion, the best character on that show. She was the funniest, the most entertaining. She was eating every other character up in every scene that she was in. She stole the show. She was like a thespian. She loves the spotlight, but like legitimately, she was a scene stealer. She was my favorite character.
The real part of the clown show is that
She had a full-time job as a nurse.
I would never put them in a mask because their brain needs oxygen to grow.
And then later, by the end of the show, ended up being the co-host of Good Morning Denver. So she was always a working mom. Sometimes she took time off because she had babies. Like, let her take care of her spawns. She was kind of like the Jenna Maroney of Disney Channel. For those that have not seen it, Jenna Maroney is a character on 30 Rock, my favorite character of pretty much all time.
Because we should do a movie together where we're on a road trip just being sluts. High five.
And the reason why I say that she is the Jenna Maroney of Disney Channel is because both of their characters are like actresses and they crave the spotlight and love the spotlight and are a tinge narcissistic, should I say.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star.
What I find funny about both of their characters is rooted in their narcissism, and she was extra. She was the most extra mom on Disney. In one episode of Good Luck Charlie, she hired a fake family that had talent because she was embarrassed that her real family had no talent. Like, can we blame her? We would all do the same. So Amy Duncan is kind of an icon. She is definitely a contender for most iconic mom on Disney Channel. Yeah.
This is a potential mother.
Now we are moving into the era of Disney Channel that I did not watch. So it's going to be hard for me to talk about these next women, but obviously I'm going to acknowledge them because this is what the video is about. However, please do not get angry at me for not mentioning certain things about these mothers. So let's move on to Ellen Jennings. So she was the mother on Dog with a Blog, and I have not seen Dog with a Blog. You know, a good researcher would go and watch the whole show to make a decision, but I just know in my heart that she is not the most iconic mom on Disney Channel. However, she seems like a quirky mother, a bit neurotic. From researching, there is this running gag that whenever she tries to befriend an animal, the animal ends up hating her and biting her or attacking her in some way. Besides, I hope her own dog, the talking blogging dog. I think I know the actress from other things, and I know of the actress as being funny. However, I don't think she is the most iconic mom on Disney Channel. Moving to Karen Rooney, the mother on Liv and Maddie. Interestingly, she was the vice principal of her kid's school, but before getting that position, she was the school psychologist. Once again, she is one of the quirky mums, and from researching, the show kind of alludes to her being a low-level hoarder. Karen is also the only one in the family that has been able to identify which one is Liv and Maddie when they do a switcheroo, but she has been fooled as well. None of this information is linking me towards saying that she is the most iconic mum on Disney Channel. Moving to Topanga Matthews, who was the mother on Girl Meets World. Topanga was also in Boy Meets World before Girl Meets World, so she's played this character for a very long time, but I feel like you can't talk about her role in Boy Meets World because she was not a mother in that show. I've not seen Girl Meets World, so this is very hard for me to talk about, but from researching, she is a lawyer, she's a junior partner, so she's very, very good at her job, and she also seems really nice. Does anyone think she's the most iconic mum on Disney? Clap if you think she's the most iconic mum on Disney.
Clap if you care.
Moving on to Kira Cooper, who was the mother of Casey Cooper on KC Undercover, as well as her other kids, but I don't know their names. I'm sorry, I haven't seen these shows. I'm sorry. Instant points for having an awesome job. She is a spy. Her husband is also, and that's how Casey becomes a spy. She is also known as the voice of reason for Casey on the show. Once again, I'm sorry. There's not much else I can say. I have not seen the show. She looks fun. She looks like a responsible, fighting crime mom. So she seems really awesome, but like I can't really go beyond that because I have not seen the show and that's my fault. What I would say is that I don't think anyone watching this is going, oh yeah, like how dare you not talk more about Kira Cooper. The Kira Cooper stands will be coming for me in the comments. Moving on to Rebecca Bex Mack, who is Andy Mack's mother on Andy Mack, who is also like her sister, but secretly her mother. That's the whole point of why I'm talking about her. I've not seen Andy Mack, but I wanted to talk about it because I think this is the first time that Disney's done a complex relationship with a mother and child on Disney Channel. For those that have not seen the show, when the character Bex is first introduced into the show, she is who's known as kind of this cool sister that wears a leather jacket and she's rock and roll. She's a rock chick. Then it is later revealed that Bex is actually the mother of Andy Mack, and what Andy thought was her mom was actually her grandmother. And obviously this is a very complex and nuanced storyline for Disney Channel. It's a new way of looking at what a mother is and what the definition of what a parent is on a family show for children. So I think that's incredibly cool. However, most iconic mom, no. The final two people that I want to talk about, that I have to discuss, is Raven Baxter and Chelsea Daniels, who ended up becoming mamas on Raven's home. However, I don't think it is fair to have either of them in contention for most iconic mother on Disney Channel because of their portrayal on That's So Raven. Their characters are not just known as being a mother on Disney Channel, they are also known as being kids on Disney Channel. So I don't think it's fair to put them in the running for most iconic mum. They are mums, but they're not known as a Disney Channel mum. Obviously to people that have just seen Raven's Home, for sure, but to me, they're not a Disney Channel mum, but they are definitely in contention for most iconic Disney Channel lead and sidekick. They are amazing characters, and I have to mention them, but I'm not going to properly consider them. So after going through the list, I've come to a decision. The most iconic mum on Disney Channel is Carey Martin. I think it is clear. Even though earlier on the video I said that I completely forgot about her when I was making a shortlist and then started doing research, that's on me, that's my bad, but I think a lot of people do instantly remember Carey Martin as one of the mums on a Disney Channel show. She was such a prominent character on the show. She had a great personality, great comedic timing, and then just also contextually looking at the reality of the show, she had it rough trying to wrangle up her mischievous twins and keep her job, keep her place of residence. She had a lot on her plate. And not only that, but she was also a great voice of reason for other characters like Maddie and London and even Mr. Mosby. She stuck around as one of the main characters on The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, and also made guest appearances on The Sweet Life of Dick because she's a mother. She has to go check up on her kids. Who do you guys think? Leave a comment down below on who you think is the most iconic mum of Disney Channel. Do you agree with me? Why? Why not? I can't wait to hear. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video, which is who is the most iconic dad of Disney Channel. See you in the next one. See ya.